hopping on. I am now doing the buttercream, my version of buttercream. Now, disclaimer, I am not a baker. I actually hate to bake. It's too particular, it's mathematical, I hate it. But I'm making my dad a very special birthday cake for tomorrow. I'm doing a Hellmann's Best Foods mayonnaise chocolate cake that is, I think, somebody should research it and let me know. I believe it's from the 50s, it might be from the 40s, whatever it is, but it's around the 50s. And I know it sounds weird to have mayonnaise in a cake, but mayonnaise is oil and eggs, so it's not so weird. Hey Dave, it's delicious. So I'm making my version of a chocolate buttercream, and again, I'm not a baker. You probably have better tips on baking than I could ever give, and I'm not really doing a video for giving you instruction, but just to share this cake because it's that good. And I wish we could eat it today because I would love to eat it on Facebook Live because then you guys can see I love this cake. Now, confession, after I made the batter, I did lick that bowl clean. I mean, clean. It was that good. Hey, Ben. So what I've done for the sake of, not boring everybody is this takes 3 sticks of butter. So it's a lot of butter. And this icing, if you have too much left over, it will keep in the refrigerator for about a month, or you can freeze it for like 3 months and you can use it for Christmas. So right now is the perfect time. What I've done with the butter and what I think is really important is you want it at room temp, but not melted, if that makes sense. If it's hot out, you don't want it like greasy, but you want it soft. 3 sticks. Put it in my KitchenAid, or if you have a hand mixer. Hey Paul, did you want to lick my teeth? You want to whip this for 3 to 5 minutes. That is something you really have to do. You want to get this butter really, really velvety. This is going to give you that great texture. So I'm going to turn that off. This makes a mess. The powdered sugar goes everywhere. The cocoa is going to go everywhere. So I'm going to try and keep it Facebook Live. If it becomes too much of a crazy mess, I'm going to stop and then I'll come back and I'll show you the cake. The cakes I made earlier today, and I have one that's pulled out. Look how dark and rich they are. I used a beautiful dark rich cocoa powder from Hershey's that I think will produce a great flavor. I've got one round already out and inverted on the opposite side. I like to put wax paper pieces on the platter before I ice it. And typically, if you are really into baking cakes, you would want to have a cake stand. And I do not have one. Why? Because I don't make cakes. I hire chefs to make me great cakes. So invest in one. They have all different kinds. And you want a turntable. A Lazy Susan will work. You could use your turntable from your microwave. Just put a plate on it because spinning it is really important. Now, that being said, this isn't a cake that you're trying to make beautiful. This is about a cake that's like old school. It's comfort food. It's very simple. I'm not decorating this cake. That would be like blasphemy. This cake is good on its own. Another thing that you want to do is you could take a serrated knife. I think I got one out somewhere. I don't know what I do with it. But anyway, you can trim the top of your cake if it's not perfect. I'm not doing that either. I don't want to lose 1 ounce of this cake, and if I trim a piece, I'm going to eat it. So that's another reason I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to hide any imperfections, and it might be like the Leaning Tower of Pisa cake, and that's okay. It'll still taste delicious. I want this cake to be a labor of love. Okay, so back to the frosting. 3 sticks of softened but not melted butter have been whipped in here, and I'm going to tilt this down for you guys. I want you guys to be able to see, or maybe I'll just lift this up. Okay, I'm going to have to pull this off. I want you to see the consistency. Can you guys see inside the bowl how like absolutely creamy this is? I mean, it's like whipped perfection. And the reason you're doing that is obviously you're getting some air in there. Now I just get it back on my KitchenAid. This thing is like professional series and I hate it. I want to get another one. You're trying to get the flavor in there and you're trying to get the texture of it to be nice. I like to use unsalted butter. I didn't have any, so I used salted butter. I do like to add salt to my frosting because I like to balance salty and sweet. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to put in either good vanilla extract. I've got a Madagascar vanilla, or I love this stuff. This is a Mexican vanilla bean paste. I bought this, I want to say in Big Bear, $26 for this jar, you guys, but it's that good. It's really concentrated. It has a really, really great flavor. I'm gonna put a dollop in there of this, maybe like a good teaspoon's worth. And I'm just gonna blend this again, make sure my KitchenAid is, there we go. And I'm just gonna whip it, okay? So now I've infused some flavor in there. And now it's got that beautiful kind of like toasty brown color that you get from Vanilla Bean. Next, I'm gonna add my cocoa, and it is gonna go everywhere. So I need to get this closer because I'm short. I'm gonna put on my guard. I don't know if you guys have KitchenAids, but this guard, it's basically worthless. Like, it doesn't really even work that well, but I'm gonna put it on there, and I'm gonna get a tea towel. Don't you love this tea towel? This was my grandmother's. Is that cute? Like, it's all embroidered. And you're gonna kind of cover it and make a tent. And on the one side, there's a little funnel, and this is where I'm gonna put my my ingredients in there, and I'm gonna cover it. It's still gonna go everywhere, and it's gonna be loud. Hey, George, you gonna go to the barbecue tomorrow? All right, let me turn this on. So I've got, how much? I've got 1 cup of the same cocoa powder that I used earlier in the cake. I'm gonna put that in, and put it in as slow as you can, because again, it's gonna start everywhere. I'm gonna just do a little bit at a time, and I'm gonna cover it up. I'm gonna come back and do a little bit at a time and cover it up. I'm not very patient. Usually I'm just like dump it in and it just goes everywhere, and it's just like whatever. Again, it's why I don't bake. If you want to get rid of your KitchenAid, move. Oh, well, I'm not gonna get rid of it. I'm just gonna get another one. My husband keeps eyeing another professional series, and he keeps asking me I should buy it. I'm very lucky. My husband wants to buy me everything, so I'm very lucky in that he likes to buy me nice things. Okay, so we got half of that cocoa powder in there. This is kind of a labor of love, but it's worth it. Don't ever like canned frosting, you guys. It's so gross, and it's so easy to make buttercream. If you don't have butter, you could use margarine, but it just doesn't taste the same. Let me just rotate this camera just a little bit. Okay, is that better? Can I see better? All right, I'm dumping the rest of this cocoa powder in here. Make sure I got it all. You see the plume of going up, get rid of that. And you can alter this buttercream frosting to any flavor profile. The recipe's gonna be the same, and I'm gonna give it to you right now. It's 1.5 cups of butter, which is 3 sticks of butter, softened, not melted, just softened. This particular one has 1 cup of cocoa, unsweetened cocoa. But if you're just gonna do a regular vanilla buttercream, obviously don't add the cocoa. It's 5 cups of confectioner's sugar-ish. And the reason I say ish, you want to cater to your taste. I prefer one that's not as sweet. So I'm going to add the majority. I've measured out 5 cups, and I'm going to keep adding it, and I'm going to show you. But I'm going to keep tasting it. Oh darn, I have to taste it. Because I don't want it to be too sweet. I'd rather have one that's less sweet than too sweet. It's 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So I used a vanilla bean, which is very concentrated. So I used about a good full teaspoon's worth, but you know, that's different than an extract. An extract isn't as strong. And then my secret ingredient for chocolate frosting, not for regular. Can you guess what this is? Anybody know what this might be? Anybody want to guess? Come on, somebody put a guess up there. What do you think this is? Anybody want to guess? Hint, you put it in a pot in the morning and percolate it. This is espresso powder. Espresso powder has a really beautiful, it's not whole vanilla bean. My whole vanilla bean was in my, I had bean paste. Espresso powder really accentuates chocolate. It's one of those things that you'll never taste, like you'll never taste and say, this tastes like coffee, because it doesn't. It just amplifies the flavor of the chocolate, and it's just a very small amount. It's 1/2 of a teaspoon, so it's not a lot. How long do you mix that? Okay, well, I'm going to turn this off. Let's see what it looks like. It looks dark, fudgy, and rich, but there's no sugar in here right now. So now I'm going to start adding powdered sugar. And I know it's loud and it's kind of a difficult Facebook Live, but this is what it is. I'm gonna be adding heavy cream to this. You could use milk, it just won't be as creamy, but if you have heavy cream, it definitely, hence the name Buttercream, it's better to use cream. Now, when I talk to you about the sugar content and when you're adding your sugar in and the discretion that's involved there, I don't add a lot of liquid, and the reason is the consistency of the frosting is really important, and so if I'm adding a lot of liquid, that means I need to counteract that liquid with a lot of powdered sugar. So hence you're gonna get a very sweet buttercream. So what I like to do is I like to add quite a bit of the powdered sugar in there, whip it up, let's see the consistency, I'm gonna taste it, and then I'm gonna decide how much of this, just a splash or two, you know, I don't want a lot. This ingredient is calling for 1/2 of a cup. I'm not adding 1/2 of a cup, I'm telling you that right now, because I don't want my buttercream to be like sickeningly sweet. I want it to be rich and have a beautiful texture, like velvet, like you put it on your tongue and you're just like, oh, hear the angels singing because it's just the best thing you've ever eaten. But I don't want it to be like so sweet that it, you know, like canned frosting is so sweet. So anyway, that's just my personal taste. If you like super sweet, go ahead and add 5 cups of powdered sugar in this ingredient and then add your 1/2 cup of milk or cream, okay? So I'm gonna start adding the powdered sugar. I don't wanna bore you guys with just whipping. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and whip it, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you the consistency, and I'm gonna put the cake together just to kind of show you if that works for you guys, because I don't want you guys having to sit here while that beater's going and it's crazy. So I'm gonna come back in just a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna put together this chocolate mayonnaise cake, and I wish I could share the taste with you guys, and I wish I could invite you all to come over and taste it, but I encourage you to look up the recipe. I did post it in the link from the video I did earlier with the cake. The particular one I used. It's an amazing cake. It's so tender, moist, and flavorful, and it's just one of those cakes that you just don't see. You know, it's just not a cake that most people are doing. So it's just something different, and it's very rich and decadent. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm gonna make this buttercream. I'm at least gonna get some powdered sugar in it, and it'll show you the consistency, and maybe I'll finish it when we're on Facebook Live, okay? And maybe I'll be licking it while I'm off so I don't look so guilty. Okay, I'll be back in a few.